Yo everybody's, it's Electra Fox coming at you once again for my third FLOSSTUBE video. Thank you for stopping by. Welcome if you're new here. It's been a month since I've talked to y'all, and this past month has basically been split into two parts. So like for the first 2 weeks, I got to work at the place where I was doing my internship. So I went from intern to actual paid employee, which was dope. So I did that, and honestly, I did not stitch much during this time. I still struggle finding like a good rhythm for stitching when I'm actually busy with life and like work and school and stuff. So yeah, that's something I'm gonna have to work on because in a month I'm getting back to school, and if I want to keep making videos and having stuff to show y'all, I'm gonna have to find some time to stitch. Um, but yeah, one of the new floss tubers I watch, it's Stitch Brat Bob, and she's cool, and she's got like amongst her whips, she's got one project that she only works on during her coffee time in the morning. And as much as I don't drink coffee, I'm like, might be cool to like take the breakfast time to stitch a little, because in the end it's like it's a time that comes every day. I don't really skip it, so it could be like a little, kind of like rendezvous with my stitchy life. So we'll see. But like honestly, I am totally ridiculous because y'all out here having like family life, working life, stitching life, and I do not know how you manage to handle all of this because I'm 24 and I don't do that much and I still can handle it. But anyway, um, so that was the first 2 weeks, and then for the last 2 weeks, I went to my grandparents' house to begin my holidays because it had been like pretty much 2 months since I've last seen them, because they went back to Portugal where they're from, and like they do it every year for their own holidays. But when they got back, I actually started my internship and then started working. And even though they're only a 15 minutes drive away, well, I don't got a car and I don't got a license with it. So, anyways, it was kind of like tough to find some time to visit them. I ended up doing it eventually, and it was absolutely marvelous. It was so refreshing. I'm really happy I got to spend time with them. And also, like, what I like is that they're grandparents, so they're not in a rush. They don't care if like something is not done in time. Like they don't have time. They're like enjoying their retirement, enjoying the garden, their little walks. Like it's just a slow life, and I enjoy it so much. That yeah, those 2 weeks were really beneficial and like they were really healing. I I read a lot, which was cool. I read like 5 to 6 books, and it's nice because usually I pretty much only read on the train to go to Paris and come back. Um, I don't know why, but I don't really like reading at my home. So like yeah, reading a lot was cool, and I stitched. I actually did some stitching, not a whole lot, but enough for me to finish 2 pieces, and then work on some stuff. So what you're gonna see today is totally due to my time spent at my grandparents' house. So I've got everything is in twos, I believe. Like I've got two finishes, two whips, two new starts, and I bought two things, two charts, and I've got some plans afterwards. So yeah, that's kind of the program. Mm, let's go. So the first thing I'm gonna show you, like it's a finish, and I was aiming to present it to you as a finish, but it actually is an FFO. Surprise. Uh, but like, it's a really simple one. Basically, the thing is, I finished it at my grandparents, and then I showed it to my mom, and she thought it was absolutely beautiful, and she loved the colors of it. So she doesn't know it yet, but I put it in a frame and called it an FFO, and I'm gonna gift it to her for her home decor. And I made sure to tell her the history behind it because it's a heavy one, it's an important one, and it's Data Portraits 1900 by Shade Stitchery, Nori, and my finish looks like this. So yeah, it looks cool. Like black frame. I know I'm not like reinventing the wheel here. You can see that this is kind of the only thing I got. It's the only thing I own, the only thing I love. So yeah, pretty much like simple. One FFO that you need to take a look at if you haven't, and I'm going to talk about it, is the one that Ellen from Make Do Maker on Instagram did, and it's so beautiful. She finished this piece, and then she put it in a frame. But the cool thing is that the I don't know how to say that. Uh, I don't know. This thing, like the frame within a frame. I don't know. It's French. It's passe-partout, but in English, I don't know. Well, this part of the framing, she actually did a quilted version, hand quilted one with like black, white, and blue fabric, and it's chef kiss. It's like marvelous. I was totally flabbergasted when I saw it, and I don't even know if I'm using that word correctly, but it was great. And so I saw it because Nori reposted it, saying that it was really reminiscing of the G's Bend quilts, um, and it is, and it's such a cool like intervention within. It's a cool mix of the two, and it really goes well together, and it ties in also as a history piece. So that was cool, and so I wanted to tell you about this, and then it made me think about something else. Little side note: if you like quilting and if you're interested in quilting history in regard to like specific communities, especially, um, there's an upcoming series of virtual lectures coming in September until December, and it's organized by Tatter, which is a New York-based bookshop and magazine specialized in like textile works. So Tatter, Dr. Jace Bailey, and Dr. Sharbryn Plummer, who are art historians. And Jace Bailey, I actually told you about last time for the zine that she wrote, Many Hands Make a Quilt. And so basically, they organized this series of lectures around the links between quilting and um, like the importance of history in quilting and quilting's history. And there's 6 parts, and some of them are revolving around specific communities within like quilting traditions. So I know that you've got a lecture about Native American traditions of quilting, one about queerness and quilting, and one about the G's Bend quilts. Um, and it's presented by Dr. Lisa Gail Collins. She actually wrote a book that got released not so long ago. It's called Stitching Love and Loss, a Gisbane quilt. And I didn't read it yet. I don't know if I'm gonna, like, I'm probably gonna have trouble finding it in France, but I'll make do because I really want to read it. And yeah, basically it's about taking an example of one of the Gisbane quilts, um, how quilting and love and like mourning and the loss of somebody are intertwined within this tradition. And yeah, it's gonna be really interesting. So if you like it, if you like quilting, and if you want to learn stuff about our communities within the great tradition of quilting, then um, it's a great opportunity. So I'll pop the name, and you'll be able to take a look at it. So yeah, now that I'm done with this part, with this piece with data portraits, which I'm so stoked about. Like it's at first I started mm, at the very beginning of June, I think, and at the beginning it was quite slow, and I did not have so much motivation stitching it because it felt like the thing of like changing colors a lot for like little elements was not really appealing to me at first because I'm not used to do that. I mostly do monochromes, or like when it's multiple colors, it's like more I get to stitch a lot something and then change color. Um, so I honestly put it aside for some time. And I was like starting so many stuff. Like I was off school, so I was like starting everything and anything. Um, and like when I went to my grandparents, I took three projects, which are three of the ones that I'm going to show you. Um, and so amongst them, there were data portraits. And let me tell you that I busted it out. Like I don't know why suddenly it felt so funny to like change colors and do so many little elements. But yeah, it ended up being a really nice stitch, like really fun, really. I've got the perfect word in French. It's ludique, which is like it's like when something makes you feel good and like it's something that you do, but it's funny to do. So like you take pleasure in doing it. And it was that basically. And I'm happy because um, now that I'm done with one of Nuri's charts, I'm gonna be able to start a new one because like Black Butterfly Sampler, um, I'm not into it right now. Nuri released recently some charts about hip hop because it's been half a century that hip hop has been around, which is like absolutely crazy. And so she first released a free pattern, and it's so fun because she charted, like honestly, it's an archival piece now, an invitation to one of the early parties where Cool Herc played. Um, and so she did that at a free pattern, and I was like, oh my god, a new thing to stitch. And then she released another pattern called Origins of Hip Hop, and it's mind blowing. It's like so cool. Like the spray bomb on this pattern just like drove me through the wall. Like on a pure like graphic design point, her charts are always so much on point, and they're like so smart in the way that she uses cross stitch to express stuff, and particular like ideas and images. It's rad. Honestly, it's so cool. Um, so yeah, it's probably gonna be my queued up set for Shade Stitchery. It's black. We're gonna pull out the 310. I don't care. Um, but it's so cool. And also, like, it's the kind of work I want to spend my time on because as a teenager and a young adult, and as of now also, hip hop has been part of my life, and it's like only fair that I kind of like put some time into, paying an homage to it. And like, as much as it's totally useless, like hip hop doesn't need me to pay homage to it, but it makes me feel good to spend like actual time into showing hip hop how much I love him. I don't know. Her. Actually, her. I mostly listen to female rap. Listen to Bahamadia, the album Collage. It's a masterpiece. Um, but yeah, it feels good as much as it felt good to work on data portraits and learn so many stuff. So yeah, thanks Nuri for like being such a cool designer, because in my mind, what I personally find a good designer is someone who's gonna make beautiful stuff on a pure like um, formal point, but also is gonna put some sense into it and some history, or some activism, like anything that's gonna uplift it to something else than just a beautiful stuff. So yeah, we stand Shady Stitchery. Go give her your money, please. All right, next up is Kate Atkinson 1872, which is another finish. Um, no black frame yet, no frame yet at all, actually. I don't know how I'm gonna finish it, but it's quite the nice piece of stitching, in my opinion. Um, really happy with it. Again, like got some trouble at first, especially because look, I'm stubborn and I want to have my color palette everywhere. So, and I love purple, so I want to put purple and lilac and shit pretty much everywhere I stitch. So I didn't go fully called for. Um, and the first time for the dominant color of this piece, I decided on a very light, yeah, light lilac, like very light, and it was not pretty with the fabric, which is a 38 count summer khaki. So so I shrugged it. I started with the flowers in the middle, started it, hated it, shrugged it once, shrugged it twice, because then I chose a purple that was way too saturated, and it was really odd. It did not feel good, and like I also hated it, so shrugged it twice, and third time as a charm, I landed on a very nice, like colorful but muted purple, which really felt perfect. Um, and off I went. Once I got this, I was pretty happy with what I was doing. So I ended up stitching it pretty fast. I'll tell you that though, I was so tired of like frogging these flowers that once I got my purple right, I stitched everything around and actually finished the sampler by putting the flowers in. Um, but yeah, and you know what? Like just as much as data portraits, the beginning I was kind of like not so motivated to stitch so many little parts with like you got a long piece of floss, and then you've got to like do a lot of cutting and like starting elsewhere and shit. And I rather like have blocks to stitch. But in the end, I would have said that before, but now I actually like, and I don't mind anymore stitching like more spotted motifs like that, and it looks really cool. So, and some of the color combinations I got making this, I'm actually going to reuse in other stuff. For example, the two greens that you see in the alphabet, it's already a part of one of my new starts. And this one, like the very light beige with the dark brown, I really like the contrast of it, so I'm probably gonna put it somewhere else. Um, but yeah, so cool. I might add some initials and date of stitching, either like um, right to the alphabet, or again like kind of like spread around within the design. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see but I call it done. Then new starts. I've got two. They are both model for embroidery. Um, and the first one is Hope. It's his 2019 Sal, and the one that I started is November, so the 11th part, and it's stitched on 36 count lilac, with DMC 3042. And so the idea behind this is that I wanted to stitch some rather small stuff, and I ended up thinking that I could take three charts of this sal, because they're this size, so that they're not big. Um, it creates for the finished object, create a little booklet with what I think would be flat folds. I don't know. Look, I've heard this word everywhere on FLOSSTUBE, and it's like I don't know what it is because people talk about it but actually don't show it. But I like in my mind it makes sense that it's something that you put on like some cardboard with maybe foam, and like you just, I don't know. It's literally what I've been doing at work for this summer, but it's a French atelier, so I don't know how to say it in English. Um, but yeah, I'm gonna do it with three patterns, and so the booklet is gonna be like one in the middle and two that's gonna fold on one another, and it's gonna be cute. Honestly, it's gonna be cute. So it's cool to stitch. It's it's quite nice, and also I like that the back is, to my opinion, very neat. And to me, it's as beautiful as the front. But I mean, you'll tell me. But I'm dumb, because I usually start from the middle because I pick up my fabric, and so it's more secure for me to start from the middle, until it's not, because I aligned it wrong. I did not do my middle fold correctly when I started it. I actually think I pinpointed the wrong part of the chart, thinking it was the middle, but it was actually not. So here I'm only gonna have like a centimeter, maybe a centimeter and a half, where I should actually have 2.5. Um, so like that's a bummer. Um, knowing how I'm gonna finish it. But hey, that's life. I'm gonna make it work. And also, this like part, this branch, I did not count it right, so it's off alignment. So I'm gonna have to frog it. And you know what? I was planning on making it a finish for you to see it today in this video, and then I fucked this up. And when I realized, I literally did and went off to work on something else because I couldn't take it. I totally rage quit. I left the chat basically. But yeah, I will go back to it and finish it, and the other two are gonna be quite fast to stitch. Also, I think I chose July and March. Yeah, probably. So first you start, then the second piece of Jacob's is a miniature sampler called Ada Lilian Baldwin, and mine looks like this for now. Once again, did not go for the called for. Um, I did my own color palette, and okay, so this is a whole adventure. Originally, the chart calls for 10 colors that are like really nicely spread around like the like diverse elements. Um, but I had a color palette in mind for quite some time that I was waiting to put into a chart, and I don't know why I figured that if this was the right one. And so the thing I had in mind was some kind of like a seaweed green that's actually DMC 3011, lavender, that mine is hard stitch lavender, a navy one, it's Ravens Ninnis Threads, and um, which one is this? And then pink one, Bonbon by Histoire de l'An. So that was my base that I wanted to build something around. Um, and so I added some colors, but I actually did not. I don't have 10 colors. I only have 8. so it's a little less like colorful than the original one, but I'm okay with it. It's totally fun by me. Um, but it makes that I had to kind of like twitch some stuff in a pattern. So, for example, these two side blocks, they are meant to be fully covered, um, but they're not with me, and they're gonna have only like initials and date in it. Um, then the border is actually meant to be different colors for like the stems and the branches and the flowers. For me, it's gonna be a whole like variegated gray border, which I think is gonna pop still. Um, and then yeah, some other tweaking here and there, but I'm actually happy with how it looks. Once again, I there's some tone on tone going on in order to have the appearance of stitches, but not having too many colors. So yeah, and I think as of now, my favorite part is the bright pink part. Like it's such a pop, and this pink is beautiful. So I think it looks really cool, and I love checkboards, chessboards. I don't know, but like I love squares. uh, and gray and the green and lavender go so well together. In my opinion, I love it. So I only have the other half of the tree. Um, initial dates, the whole border to stitch, and then I'm done. But did you see it? Did you see it? I totally like misplaced this little piece, like this flower pot, because I aligned myself with the crown instead of the bird, and so I fucked it up. So I have to frog it and restitch it. I'm a frogger. I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. But anyway, I'll do it. But what I it's the first chart where I have um, stitches that are actually not on the same grid than the others. So I don't know if you'll get to see, and I don't know how to explain it, but the cross, like the top of the tree, you'll see that it's um, kind of like it's in the true middle of the tree, because instead of like, so I've got my 3 points to do like 2/2, and instead of doing this I did this, and it creates the middle, and I never saw it on the chart, and I never thought about it, and now when I'm going to chart myself, I'm going to be able to create middles, and you know, yeah, Captain Obvious, but I never saw it, so I'm happy I discovered that. Kind of felt dumb, but anyway. So yeah, that was my two new starts. Um, and I don't have so many whips now. I think I have 5, which is pretty reasonable. And I'm gonna start new stuff. But we'll see that after in my plans. Now on to whips. I only have 2. This first one is Afshan Sampler by Marumi Designs. And I don't think I stitched that much since last time. As of now, I'm here. So I started with the actual Afshan flower. And I think last time I probably had like the bottom part of this. Um, and ever since I stitched up to the top of one of the petals. Um, and I like how the variegated floss is working here. I'm stitching in rows, horizontal rows, mostly, and then here, for example, I stitch diagonally, so it like follows the pattern. Um, but I do like how it looks like, and for some time, so my dilemma in my first floss tube was that I pretty much knew that I wouldn't have enough to stitch the whole piece in terms of floss because I only had ordered 5 skeins, and it was panic mode because I was like, oh my god, what am I gonna do? Am I gonna have a different dye bath? Should I do like 2 colors instead of like one? So I actually tried with a tone on tone beige to fit the platinum Ada, and I totally hate it because it's not true tone on tone, and so I don't like it, and I'm not gonna buy like if I'm gonna buy a true tone on tone, I might as well just buy the rest of the original floss. And so I sent an email to Fabi, behind Un Petit Fil, the floss dyer, and she was positive that it was gonna be the same dye bath because it was not like she didn't had any new one. So I ordered some more floss, and I now have enough to make the whole piece. And let me tell you that I need to get my shit together because it's not done. Um, I regularly see these 20 stitches Afshan sampler on Instagram, and they are busting into it. Like they're so fast, and I'm not, and I'm like, it's frustrating because it's such a beautiful piece, and I need to put more time into it. Especially because hashtag cute upsell, some other designer waiting for me down at Merumi Designs headquarters. She released recently Silk Garden, which is a beautiful sampler. It's like so stunning, and I probably will do it at some time. But before that, the one that I'm actually eager to start is Mother Nature, um, and I placed an order a couple of days ago, and it's gonna arrive this week. And I bought some even weave that's it's called almond green, and it's really like light, yeah, light green. It's really pretty, and I think I will use it for Mother Nature because I actually have an overdyed floss that's from like it's very variegated, and it ranges from like dark green to light green. Um, it's from a French dyer, but I don't remember which one. But it's really nice, and I think the two, like fabric and floss, would go well together. So yeah, I need to finish this because Mother Nature is calling. She's calling. But anyway, next up, the other whip that I worked on is actually one that I like. It's my birthday start, so started on June the 11th, and it's Flower by Sylvia by Destiny Switches, and it looks like this. So I like back in June, I didn't touch it much, to be honest. And like yesterday, I was getting ready to watch Cinematic Stitches FLOSSTUBE, Michaela, and I was like, I wanted to stitch on something else than the things that I already showed you, and I figured that Flower for Sylvia would be a good fit. And honestly, it was because, okay, I did not stitch that much. Like I completed some of the flower and the stem, uh, but it made me want to stitch a whole lot on these. So this is gonna be the piece that I'm working on next, because you know it's I don't know why I didn't work on it much, but it's 32 count, so it's really fast to stitch, really pleasing. Um, so yeah, it's I think I hope it's gonna be a finish for next video. Um, and yeah, just as a reminder, if you don't know, so Flower for Sylvia is a chart paying homage to Sylvia Rivera, who was an absolutely massive and very important figure of the queer community, because ever since the late 60s, she fought for our rights. So, like, she fought for trans people, sex workers, gay rights, etc., etc. And she quite honestly was kind of like overlooked and did not get the recognition that she deserved um, back in her time. And so that's cool. It's very important, very cool that Dee has done um, Stitchy piece for her. Um, and something, okay, it's really on a personal level, like personal interpretation, feeling, sentiment. But what I like about this chart, I went for the called for mostly, and some of it has been substituted for what I had in stash that was close enough. But the thing is, it's not my typical color palette at all. And even though I don't particularly stitch those kind of colors, usually I did not want to change it because, and I don't know if it's what was intended or else. It's really like a personal like sentiment I have, but I actually really enjoy the idea of having what I think are more traditional cross stitch colors. Like it's typically the kind of palette I remember seeing in my mom's cross stitch books from like the 90s. Um, I like this idea because it puts, in my mind, it puts our history back into the mainstream in the sense that um, because it's stitched as if it could have been a pattern in the 90s, it's like it makes us visible and us like queer people visible into like mainstream history. And like honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if I saw this pattern in like a 90s typical housewife cross stitch book. Um, and that's cool because it, in my mind, it participates to like, you know, making us visible, especially making trans people visible. And like D is the one to say because they actually have a really cool series called Let's Make a Statement that y'all probably already know, and that I have to stitch. Like I thought about it this past few weeks, and I'm gonna put it in my plans because it's important to stitch, and I only don't do it yet because I don't know how I'm gonna finish them, and I want to have an idea before starting them. So it's something that I have to think about. But one of the statements, I think it's the second one, maybe, is a sentence going along the line of trans folks have always been there and will always be. And so, yeah, we've got to remember it and to, you know, make it remember to other people. So yeah, that was Flower for Sylvia. Really cool stitch, and I'm hoping to finish it soon because it's gonna look rad. So that's it for everything that I stitched this past month. I'm gonna go ahead and tell you about the very few stuff I bought. It's like nowhere near the gigantic haul I did last time. I only bought 2 charts, but they are paper charts. Woo! I feel like a true North American stitcher now. Oh my god! And they're like typical like North American um, pattern designers. So I'm like stoked to be part of the club now. The first one I bought is Moonlight Visitor by Blackbird Designs. So it's my first Blackbird design piece. Could have been my second. Let me tell you a story. So I bought them on the website of a needle workshop in France, um, which is one of the few that is selling American charts and paper charts. And so what made me want to place an order was that it was sales time here in France during July, and she had put on sale another Blackbird design pattern called Sarah's House. And Sarah's House, I think I saw for the first time, okay, I'm probably gonna butcher her handle, on Pumpkin Hollow Quilts Instagram. Um, like she had finished it, and it's It's a very beautiful, like it's a booklet with 3 patterns, and the biggest one is a sampler with a house and all, and it's absolutely magnificent. And I when I saw that this website had it on sale, I absolutely jumped on it and put it in my basket, and then popped a couple others just to say. So these are the 2 that I actually got, and I bought it, and I didn't have Sarah's house because a couple of days after, um, the seller actually sent me an email saying, "Hey, I'm sorry, I don't have it. I'm gonna refurbish." Yeah, refurbish. Anyway, she got my money back, um, and I was absolutely devastated. Okay, I'm being a bit dramatic, but I was sad because it's actually the pattern that made me want to place an order, and it was the one that I love the most. And it's not available in France anymore. I didn't find it, so I will never have it, and it's quite saddening. But I mean, that's life. It's okay. So I bought Moonlight Visitor, and the other one is a tiny one, and it's the Semper House. Oh wait, the Semper House by Brenda Gervais. Brenda Gervais. And once again, uh, I've heard her name all over YouTube, and I finally have a pattern from her, so that's also felt nice. It's really small one, really simple, which is what I like. So that's dope. I don't know when I'm gonna stitch all of these, but oh my god, I have a paper pattern. This is so weird. It's weird, but anyway, I love it. Um, so yeah, little haul, and now to wrap this up, plans. Got a couple of them. First one on my list, and this is partially why I placed an order online to get some fabric and DMCs that I don't have. I'm gonna make a piece for hashtag Stitchy for Witchy. She announced that she was diagnosed with cancer, and so the whole community got behind her to support her. So if you're able to do so, then go buy some patterns and like stitch them. Um, it it's cool because I actually had some of them already listed in my to buy list. Um, because she charted some figures of like Slavic mythology, and I myself, as a Slavic descending person, I'm so stoked when I see Slavic mythology references because it's quite an underrated mythology, and you never get to see it on TV, and it's like about always about the Greeks and the Nordics and shit, and like yeah, that's cool, but there are some others, and Slavic mythology is also really cool. Um, and the most like the cool stuff about it is that she actually charted not really famous, like not really known figures. So like she's got a Baba Yaga pattern, which is probably the most famous Slavic mythology character. But she's got also Kikimora and Leshi. And I bought these last 2, but again I'm keeping for later as part of my other plan. But yeah, so I'm gonna start with Kikimora, and it's so pretty. It's so cute. Um, I'm gonna stitch both of them on the same fabric, which is gonna be light coffee, something like that, or light taupe. No, light coffee. Yeah. Um, and called for except for the little chemise that she's got, which is gonna be purple. I'm going to go with some um, lavender colors, and it's not only because I love it; it's also because yellow and purple are complementary. So I know it's gonna look rad. So it's an excuse, but still. And then I'll see Leshy. So this is for Stitchy for Witchy. Then I'm looking at my note. I'm gonna. So I realized because of my Instagram algorithm that many designers charted Baba Yagas, and I decided to go on a rampage of like buying everything Baba Yaga and stitching it because so Witchy Stitcher did Baba Yaga. She actually did 2 Baba Yaga patterns. Stitch Sprout did 2 also, including lately a tiny Baba Yaga house that's like so cute. There's Lola Crow, um, Mama Witch cross stitch. Uh, Maybe I'm forgetting some, but like so many Baba Yaga patterns out there. And yeah, little by little, I will collect them and stitch them. And I'm gonna dabble into designing for other people. Like I've designed my whole list of gay movie series that you can find in my FLOSSTUBE extra if you're interested. Um, but I figured that it was time for me to start stitching stuff to share with you. So I might stitch a Baba Yaga myself and chart it and propose it to the world. So yeah, maybe we'll see that pop up in the next few weeks. So yeah, Baba Yaga series coming on, and uh, lastly, I told you last time about um, me doing like participating into the Quirky Quaker Sal, um, based on the Quirky Quakers done by Darling Whimsy Designs. And so the idea is that I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm getting inspired by Nithya, who stitched, sorry, who stitched the menagerie of mermaid designs on a single piece of fabric and arranging them together. I'm gonna do that for the Quirky Quakers, and so I'm gonna buy 1 a month and stitch 1 a month. So I already possess the hedgehog because I stitched it for a friend. But for August, I'm actually gonna buy the centerpiece, which is gonna be the Elvertritch. Um, this really cool bird. It's so weird, but I love it. And it's gonna be the middle point because it's the biggest one out of all of them I want to stitch, and then I will extend with the smaller ones. So yeah, that's part of my plans. And oh my god, she released, without me even noticing, a little sampler with squirrels on it, and it is so pretty. I'm gonna buy it also. I'm buying so many stuff, but yeah, I'm gonna stitch it. It's so pretty, and I saw it on her Instagram a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh my god, I'm so waiting for the release post, and I didn't see any, and I was looking at the Quicker Quickers, and I saw it, the sampler, squirrel sampler, and I was surprised, and so I was happy because I was like, I'm gonna buy it. But anyway, look, I think I'm done for today. I think I've said everything that I needed to say. Yeah, on se revoit le mois prochain pour les nouveautés et tout. En attendant, profitez bien, brodez bien, faites des cool trucs, et on se dit à plus.